for the entire Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
I have too many
You have
players.
two.
Let's see, what was I even doing? Oh yeah, art things. I haven't even closed the sheet down from last time when I was messing around with these things. I suppose I should open up the shaper stream so I can see what you be doing and all.
Oh, I suppose I could stream it across to you.
I suppose you could.
Why the fuck would I want to make your life any easier, Duck?
Ah, you're doing them little tiny pixel drawings like you do.
That's all I fucking do.
Small man on penne pasta.
You know, it's on penny tester.
This
You
is
couldn't logically be set on anything else.
no, it wouldn't make sense otherwise. I mean, no one would sit on a log. That would so uncomfortable. Why would you sit on a log when you could sit on some penne? Peeny.
Peas.
Peen.
Penis.
Yeah, that's what I was doing
What
last
does
time. I
that
was
look like?
trying to figure out the mole person thing.
Oh,
Uh,
uh,
uh, let's see, Nick, what kind of creature to do. See, I've kind of completely derailed because it was easy enough at the start because we were focused on one thing, trying to get one area sorted. And so it was easy to sort of think of, okay, we know this area, we can work on this, we can do this, and then we kind of like got to the end of all we really needed to know as basic for the salt flats.
yeah.
And now my brain's like, well, where else? And I also keep having to remind myself this place does have magic. I don't have to stick to things that just
Evolve.
are just either evolved or organic. They could have evolved, but they could also have. I mean, things like displacer beasts.
Magic.
You know, things like the classic Displacer Beast from the tabletop RPG we are distancing ourselves from. It is a creature, but it is a magic creature. What if there was a creature that evolved in an area? I mean, I've been thinking of like other things to add in there, like not just creature wise, but as like things that are like happened a while back. So like catastrophes that had happened. Like, we in our world we get things like, volcanoes and all these things happen. But what happens if there's like a weird magical thing that happens as well? What if, the ley lines or something collided one weird occasion, and now there is one area in the world where things aren't quite right.
Like the Freakland.
Yeah, like the trees exist, but they aren't planted; they're just floating. And so the forest, there's like a gap of a meter and a half or 2 meters between the forest and the floor, and weird stuff like that. Because there's nothing stopping us apart from common sense. Or some of the classic things where there's like, yeah, you've got like the ground is normal, but then like there's chunks of it that have kind of like raised up, which have got the trees attached to them.
Magic.
Yeah, magic.
Now that the moon isn't the Feywild, we could have it so that maybe life doesn't come from the moon. Maybe it comes from Atlantis. And more fucked up ideas at 12. Like, we don't have to have the fucking Feywild off there. Everything can just originate from But I do like the idea of this sort of like almost alien type magic. Although, to be fair, we haven't utilized any of that, so we don't need to care, so good.
Yeah.
It's not on the class sheet, so we don't need to put alien magic down anywhere. Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye. No.
I think the magic is probably going to be the same. It's just from a different place. So it would function. It would functionally be the exact same. It's just the gods would be different, or the element would be different.
What if the magic is different?
Then whoever it is that's dealing with the magic system would have to come to terms with that.
Headache.
Yeah, would have to come to terms with that shit, wouldn't they? And get it down onto some paper. I mean, I don't know who that could possibly be.
Look, all I'm saying is that Space Magic DLC can come later.
That's true.
Until then, I thought about a replacement for the elves.
Okay.
Fishmen. Specifically, sharks.
What is your reasoning behind this thought?
Okay. My reasoning is twofold. Firstly, the idea that I want to give people what they want, right?
Oh, and everyone wants sharks.
No. Not specifically. I'm thinking we needed to make a way for these fish races to be able to, like, maneuver on land. Because otherwise they shouldn't be able to breathe, right?
Yeah.
So what if they were already sort of an advanced civilization that's, like, crumbling? You get me?
Yeah.
Like, this is their sort of, like, escape to land.
It's
Like
that
getting over tools necessary.
their last ditch attempt to survive the cataclysm is get
Yeah.
out of the water.
Yeah, like maybe it's not even something like I'll tell you what it probably is. Because we did frame this as like a possible cause of conflict. This is where we wanted to put Atlantis, right? It's on top of a geothermal vent. Like, it could be as simple as their cradle of civilization lived here. And the god of fire and the god of water have been at war, and this place is just crumbling. You know? And maybe the rest of the entire underwater, like, places to live. These, like, underwater lands down here, all around, maybe they're, like, inhospitable. Maybe they're full of, like, monsters. Because, like, we have monsters on land. Imagine the monsters in the ocean.
Yeah, that's going to be the good old classic weird abyssal nightmare creatures.
Maybe that's where the Elder Gods come from. Maybe the Elder Gods aren't some, like, ancient force from elsewhere. Maybe they simply evolved from the abyss. They have the power to influence the world because they're drawing on Primordia really, really well.
Because they were there when the primordial stuff was normal.
They were there when it was normal to just be Primordia and stuff. Land formed around their brain. Also, hi, Kiwi. No toes for you.
Toes?
Toes.
Where are the toes?
Toes. But yeah, so I'm thinking of this aquatic race, and the first thing I'm thinking is, what would people want to play most? Right? So I think to myself, what's the most popular type of underwater creature? The shark. Everyone loves a shark. Am I about to be corrected on this assertion?
Um, it depends what circles you're in, really.
Hmm.
I know at least in furry circles, many people love a shark, but that's because they like having two dicks. Because people are weird.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, it would work. I mean, the interesting thing would be,
But like, yeah, they come up and they're like weird, they're mystical, no one really gets them. You know? They fit the same place narratively that the elves did.
because originally the elves were just going to be weird old race came from the stars, or just the moon.
They were going to be refugees.
On the bright side, there's plenty of reference material for trying to create a race of shark people.
I can't imagine why.
I can't either. I can't imagine that I'll have to go to a certain website to look for inspiration.
Uh, can't imagine what website you could be referencing.
No, neither could I. No idea what it could be. I mean, it would definitely wouldn't be a lewd one.
Definitely not.
Never. Not me.
Mm.
Well, that's a weird background doodle. I don't do landscapes very often, so I
I'll
suck at
be
them.
doing your mom, doing your mom. Uh, or do I?
Unlikely. Because you like cock.
Cock and ball torture from Wikipedia to free encyclopedia. Remember the Mullen TV show?
Yes. Didn't really watch it much.
Watched it a bunch as a kid. Sub Ace Benny.
Oh no, it's the beanie.
May well be the beanie. I love you, beanie. Trying to have this thing up right now of like a canopy shot of like the salt flats, like the salt forests. It's okay, though, Ace. Don't worry. Cherry will always hate you as long as I'm paying her.
Oh, it's that Ace Panini. I know Ace Panini.
Panini weenie.
Panini.
Panini the weenie.
What a weenie panini.
Yeah, chat. In case you didn't know, today I'm finishing up working on what is essentially like a campaign idea I had for like an in-universe sort of like quest, based on everything we sort of come up with so far.
And I am scribbling because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Scribbly-bibbling. Scribbly-bibbling. Did we decide how the sort of like flowers of the leaves would go on these trees?
I don't think we did.
Ah, I can't brain it right now. Trees and leaves and stuff ain't my forte. Neither's drawing people. I'm first and foremost a landscape artist. Then a world builder. Then a human fucking disaster.
Oh, well, I'm good at being a disaster.
Oh my god. Oh. I remember when Elon said that he was going to take over Twitter to remove all of the bots, and has made it so much worse for bots. Like, the site is full of bots.
Well, at least now the bots are paying money to be bots, because the bot needs to have Twitter Blue. Otherwise, everyone will know they're a bot. But if they pay, people won't think they're a bot, even though they're still a bot. I love when I get a little message saying someone's followed you. I'm like, yay! And I see the word graphic artist. And I go, oh, you're an artist, are you? Let me have a look at your posts. And they're just generic posts that just have a random line and a shit ton of hashtags and a bunch of art that looks nothing like each other. A nice style you have there of everyone else's.
Gosh.
Because it is all everyone else's work that they have stolen for their bot. Apparently Ace is ready for the duel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I only fight with worthy opponents. Got him.
So yeah, in campaign I was planning on like sicking one of these bad boys on the party. It's one of those kind of easy things to draw when you obscure most of it off screen.
You can just draw the leggy bits.
You just only gotta draw the leggies.
Oh, how cool would it be if like each leg has its own health bar?
It would be fair.
When it gets to adult size, it's like, okay, there's not just a one. It's not just one set of health now. It's like you could try it going for its regular health, or you could just try taking off a couple of its legs so it can't run after you as fast. So which do you choose? One of them is certain death. The other one is mostly certain death.
Like a fear and hunger enemy almost.
It's really annoying that
when I see in that game.
it's really annoying. After I'd sort of like put all that effort into the design. Well, I say effort. It wasn't really effort to make a gangly weird beast that was like a bean with legs. But I actually found the thing that I think was lodged in my brain years ago when I first saw it. It's even like because it was one of the black and red monochrome images that is just like using just hues of red. That includes black, so it's still technically monochrome. Don't come after me. But it was essentially the same sort of thing: weird forest and the large gangly creature. And I looked, I'm like, is this the image that was lodged in my brain that just sort of like when I needed a weird thing in a forest, it just went, oh, I've seen this before, let's just redraw that. And I felt really, I'm like, oh, I thought I'd come up with something fun on my own, but apparently not. Apparently my brain just like, oh, we can use that and we can add some crab claws to it. We can dangle something underneath them. And just pulling things from everywhere else in my brain. I'm like, oh, is that how the artistic process is meant to work? Stealing from everyone else. It just made me feel a little bit like, huh. I thought I'd done something here.
I mean, to be fair, you did. You made a really big spider.
Yeah. I suppose that's just the pain of being an artist that looks at other people's stuff. Eventually, something you draw is going to be similar to something you've seen in the past. Even if even not on purpose, then it will happen by accident at some point. I know there's another artist that, I mean, if Joshua would hear, Joshua would be able to correct me on the pronunciation of this. But it's like Belsinski, I think it was something along those lines. Well, no, Beksinski, I think it's written as. I don't know how it's the correct pronunciation. But they do a lot of like weird, absurdly morbid art that's in in black and red monochrome stuff. And I just really like
Yeah.
it. I have a print of some of their stuff in a frame in my living room because I just liked it. And I'm one of those weirdos who's like, I like that art, I'm having that. And normal people will go, that's really freaky art. Why do you want that? And I will say, I like it, go away.
Yeah.
I'd be one of those weird people that would have like a giant painting of eyeballs on the wall if I could find a fun one. If I didn't, I could just, I do have canvases, I could do it myself. I could pretend it's by some master painter and go, no, no, it's actually just me. That's why it's shit. You do a Bob Ross painting and then just add loads of eyeballs to it.
The eyeball that grows on the Bob Ross painting.
And here we have just a little friend and his eyeballs. All of his eyeballs. And we just draw a little Cthulhu rising from his slumber in his temple in Relay. Oh, isn't he lovely? Such a lovely little friend. And over here we can have Dagon. Oh, Dagon, what a little cute little critter. Oh, everyone needs a friend, don't they? Meanwhile, Bob is going slightly insane from drawing these monsters from beyond.
Mhm.
Pick a number between 1 and 14.
1,
Pick a different number.
2.
Okay.
You
Number
sound happy about that.
no, number 1 is the salt flats, and number 2 was swamp. So we've already done work on those.
Yum, 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 yum.
I've got my thing up to have like the biomes that we might need and the creatures that could be in there. And I was going to like pick one of one side, one of the other side, and then see if I could do something interesting with it. Hmm.
Okay.
What?
So my idea here is I'm just trying to build like a little mini resource that I can refer to and be like, how could players play the game here? So I write this little campaign 1, the Wailing Salt. The local settlement you were traveling to is abandoned, and its residents have been corpses for weeks now. Rags cling to the salt-crusted bones. The settlement seems almost buried beneath a layer of... That says sand, but that should say salt. You make contact with the local scouts, who are away from their home. They're terrified and angry. They speak of a wailing beast in the sand-scorched forest, salt-scorched forest. Speak of another settlement where they may find allies, and they plan to kill the wailing spectre. You find the settlement in ruins also, a fresh take, even more villagers join the fight. You speak of the attack as you gather around a fire, telling you of how the spectre descended upon them suddenly. They watch the swell of salt tearing their people apart. Watch their loved ones reduced to naught but bones. Then, after hearing a distant howl, the salt departed into the forest. There's no way to leave. The only way out the salt forest now is the slim chance of leaving together. As you travel the forest in silence, you get brief glimpses of the death bird circling you coldly. They can sense your doom. In a hostile place like this, their sense is a likely act. The locals warn you of the threats of the forest, and you manage to avoid many potential dangers. Stepping through this terrain, you are always being hunted. Death comes on 8 legs. Roll an instinct check. So, like, this is like a survival section. If this is the first campaign you ever throw the players into, if they're not surviving, I mean, they're not taking this thing down, they're simply surviving until it gets what it wants and leaves. I gotta really envision the sort of like scenario that could lead this. I'm gonna envision it.
Almost hear the screams and the chittering noise. I realised I haven't actually had music playing for this time. Since everything keeps getting copyrighted, you can have Bomberman OST.
Just play the royalty-free D&D Tavern music, baby.
Yeah, but I find that
royalty-free.
I find that really boring.
Yeah. I can't help but agree, but there ain't nothing else I
I
can
mean,
do
at
about it.
one point, what I might do once I can, if I can figure out how, is I think I've set it up right now that on the VOD the music won't show up. I think I've managed to separate it properly this time round, so that for the stream itself everything is being shown, but on the VOD everything but the music will appear.
Yeah.
In which case, I might add a separate music source so I can have the music source for stream, and they can listen to some weird taverny music, and then I can mute that on my end so I don't have to listen to it, and I can put something that I want on my end that makes me able to concentrate and I enjoy, that won't show up on the VOD, and then I can enjoy my bit, and then chat can have their tavern music.
Yeah.
But that involved like messing around with some settings, and there's a part of me that's a little bit like, I don't know if I want to do that because that could like screw things up. And hi Ezzy, how are you? I see you with your little wiggly.
The VSE?
It's the Ezzy, the bakery product.
Inconvenience? Tasty, crunchy, delicious. Okay, so you're a warrior, you're up against this long legs that's bearing down on you. What actions might you use as a warrior? You might attack, obviously. You might defend. Hmm. I think defense is out of the question here.
It's probably gonna be more like dodging.
Yeah. Evade, but even then, the long legs is fast.
Oh yeah, the long legs is quick.
Your options as a warrior, attack or evade. Maybe distract. I can think defend might be an option, but it's pretty, suicidal. Like, put yourself between it and someone else, you're probably dead. Big old line for that. You may just want to blanketly, examine. Look for weaknesses. Observe its behavior. In the rarest case, you might be able to, square up and intimidate.
Yeah, but
That'll go under.
that's gonna be like very, very, very class specific. So like some of the big barbarian ones
Yeah.
are gonna be like able to do it, and it might actually have a chance to work. Most of the people you try intimidating it, you get your your face taken off.
I'll say hide is like an option too. Now here you've got Johnny Spellcaster, right? Now Johnny Spellcaster, let's say he's a sigil wielder. And he's got these sigils that he's casting. Or drawing onto things. What might they do differently? They might set a trap.
Yeah, it's gonna be setting traps, doing things that might give bonuses to them or their party. So putting down sigils that make the party faster, make them have better reflexes, things like that, maybe.
Debilitate enemy. They might try and do.
Like, I mean, if I suppose if you can like get up close and slap a sigil on one of the legs to like paralyze a leg or something,
Yeah.
it would make the fight a hell of a lot easier if one of its limbs is not usable.
So, Thief class, aka Survivor, aka. Probably not going to engage at all. And no one will blame you for doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Conquering low? Yeah, I'd want to get low too. I'd escape. Fucking run. Let's see. There we go. So this is the barbarian. They've definitely got like a good intimidate action they'd want to do. Or maybe they'd want something that sort of gives them like a really good sort of like rush in attack. Like crash into them, do damage. I think pull aggro. Haunt? Haunt is a generalization, but it'll fit. And then the backline's here, I'm sure. You got someone who's like probably deep with like spirits and stuff. Like they probably like pray. Pray is a very good fucking way to get through a long legs encounter. Praying or maybe summoning? Roaring power? I don't know. Defending's just not something you're going to be doing against this thing. This thing's eating some of the party. Hiding, escaping, running, intimidating, rushing in, praying, summoning. Those are about all the actions you'd want to do. Now, if we take that back in time, what sort of things do I wonder if the player would do during this initial time. They might ask questions. Gain language of local area. Oh. It's just something you would get by default. You'd gain the language of the local area, like progress. I'd say 40 out of 100. How would you investigate an area? Investigate the land and stuff. Uh, what sort of nature knowledge you have of the area. Lead into like plant gathering and such. Investigate land, glean some nature knowledge. Any other natural studies that you want to do? That's good enough. Okay. So I'd want to be able to like have a skill that's like ask questions, local history, like gathering history. Something that a player would probably want to do. Like local legends / creatures. Oh, probably local deity. That's what they'd probably want to know. Deities, legends, histories, and stuff. Beasts. Want to know about. Okay. Maybe you could have a party member who wants to like inspire like the locals stuff. But inspire. Maybe they want to like bells. Maybe they'd want to like spirits. Convince. Or would want to like convince them like, we're heroes, we're here to help you. Or maybe they'd want to like deceive them. We're heroes, we'll help you. To use them. Mm. Hmm. What could you do with like the local populace? Talk them to learn things. You could talk them to convince things.
Trade.
Hmm. I don't think they'd have much to go with here in this situation, but it's a possibility. Yeah.
I mean, it might be something like very minimal. They've not got much left, but if you have the right skills, you might be able to get a little bit of extra ration out of it for whilst you know hunting the thing for them.
Because there's a villain's route through every situation, too. And maybe that's like you corral the tribe and you make them like go to war for you. Like, you're gonna go to war with this like monster, and you're going to do it in the name of my gods, etc. You like intimidate them. She always got that one player who's gonna start out a campaign, and they're gonna run up to the local fucking person, and they're gonna lie to them, and they're gonna keep lying to them.
Yeah, and that person will be the trickster survivor person.
Intimidate, trade, trick. Good idea so far. The middle stretch. I gotta keep checking my comm statuses. This is supposedly the last day that this is supposed to be in commission, and me and the guy we talked about like extending the time for it. Like I was like, as much as you need, dude. Like take your time. Ah. Well, apparently he's 3 hours late, but I'm happy to like extend if he gives me another thing. I was worried that I was worried Five would just like cancel the order and do like a refund on me, which is not what I want because I generally trust people, you know.
Hi, Ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah, he's appeared in my chat. You know, doesn't like you. He's here for me for some reason.
Because people like you.
He his second guess he got it when he saw that I have got reference images of turtle, well tortoise, and lava, and his first thought was tiger turtle.
Tiger, 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 tiger.
Look, magma and lava are really hard to try and draw when you're a shit artist. I'm doing my
I can
best.
relate because I'm a shit artist. To be fair, I like the kind of tiger pen.
But I figured what this was, it was because we were saying about there could possibly be magical creatures that hadn't necessarily evolved, and they did form from the lava. And the shell is basically the hardened lava, and the bits that are walking around the head and the legs are just the bits that haven't solidified yet.
What if the shell was more volcano-like? Like it
Well,
looked like a little sticky uppy peak bit.
well, then we risk getting to the Pokemon stage because one of them
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that.
yeah. It would be a fucking Pokemon.
Yeah, at that, but there is actually one. I think it's like I can't remember the
Oh my
fucking
god.
name. I can't remember the name of it, but it is essentially I think it's like Voltortle or something, and it literally is just a turtle with a volcano on its back.
a fucking Shelby.
So hey, I'm here to squash the capitalism and do the communism.
Communism and chew gum. And I'm
Uh,
all out of reasons to live. Lie standing when the beast has fled. An alien and hostile land. You won't have to survive.
why am I being careful? I've actually learnt my fucking lesson and I started using clipping layers. So now I can just fucking scribble anywhere and it only goes in the place I need.
I love you.
I love you too.
Kissy mama.
Mama, suck, suck, suck. I mean, what?
Oh yeah, harder. Oh my god, it's me, Kermit the Frog.
Torkoal, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, Torkoal is essentially just like,
You know, I tapped out of your stream and I was gonna like mention I think the scale should be a little more charred looking, and now it is.
yeah. Originally, I just grabbed a color and I'd like taken the color of the sort of the hearth done magma. So I figured that like the edges might be a little bit, might still be a little bit cooling down, maybe. Sort of in the middle of completely solidified and. But the problem is that picking that color, it comes out as pink, which it works really well on a photo of lava where it makes sense. But when you're trying to like color something in, it doesn't quite make the sense.
uh, da-da-da-da. Nom, nom, nom.
In Ginger's playthrough of Pokemon Ultra Moon, when he was in need of a sixth team member, because he'd cycled through 4 candidates who were all shit, and on a whim caught a Torkoal, and she was godlike, apparently.
Mhm. Okay. Let's think what a player would do in this situation. You're the last standing when the beast has fled. In an alien and hostile land, you alone have to survive. So that's where we can have players roll like their nature check. Like, depending on how bad shit goes, we could stick like a colony of ants on them. Like, this is a real sort of like attack on the senses and body type situation. Maybe the heat even gets to the mind. Night is soon approaching and trees seem almost to shudder. Or is it perhaps your nerves? You're getting awfully tired. So this is where you like make it so that the players need to like sort of rest, otherwise they're going to be like completely debilitated going forwards. As you late camp, you can hear the wailing. It casts a ghastly noise on the wind. To the east, you can see at the foot of a hill. Pale green glow. So where players might want to do like magic checks and stuff, like arcane, maybe deity type check. Like magic check. Some sort of like perception check. Never mind. Player here might like try and soothe. Make sure everything's okay there. Sick. Right, soothe. Maybe inspire your teammates. Last ending when the beast is fled in an alien hostile land, you alone have to survive. More beasts. Fungus slash rations might come into play. Let's see.
Well, as something from the lava field, it's good enough. At least for now. The idea is down.
Okay. We get a bag of jumbo marshmallows and throw them at you? Don't do that. It'll stick to the wall. It'll be gross.
I mean, the camouflage works as well.
I'm not gonna camouflage in marshmallows.
No, I'm not talking about your marshmallows, goddammit. I'm talking about the I'm talking about what I'm working on.
Ah.
Although, as a sheep, yes, marshmallows would be a good camouflage for you. The only problem is we would want to eat them, and thus we would might accidentally eat you as well.
Don't. Mm. Mm. Ba, 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 ba.
So why have you reset Forgetsy and Sheeper stream avatars? Why have you done that? That they are not who they should be.
This is why I don't fuck around with excess, like, stuff like that.
Well, I got bored.
Okay. When you approach the light, it vanishes. And as you approach the hill, you notice a cave's entrance ahead. Entering into the cave, you come into a large cavernous room. Moonlight shines through cracks in the ceiling. The hill is hollow. Doo, 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 doo. Okay. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Da-da-da-da-da. Ha-da-da-da-da-da. Hi, Senpai.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. I know, Etsy. You're not bred anymore. I'm currently dealing with it. Don't worry.
Ayo, Ezzy's not bred. Ayo,
Yeah, we've got to make sure Essie gets bred.
I'm cheaper.
Aki underscore stream underscore avatar.
Hey, you might want to do a investigation or something. Sentai, you're not sheep. I'm sorry, it's not true.
I mean, have you thought that possibly they are?
Have you thought of keeping your mouth shut?
If I did that, I wouldn't be able to gobble you down. Let me give Izzy his face back. Damn it.
Oh, balls.
Wow, you really had to bomb Sheepa like that.
What?
There we go. As he has been returned to the correct form.
Easy. There we go. I'm on that freak shit again, Cherry.
You always are.
When you approach the light, it vanishes, and as you approach the hill, you notice a cave's entrance ahead. Entering into the cave, you come into a large cavernous room. Moonlight shines through cracks in the ceiling. The hill is hollow. You're within the belly of something large and dead. A wailing cry begins to echo off the walls. The center of the room, wind begins to swirl, picking up loose sheets. Sheets wrap around a skull resting on a spear, before lodging towards you. The ground is torn up as it moves angrily, and only then do you notice the thousands of dead ants. It's like the big con- confrontation in this is basically like a poltergeist of the Sens that's decided to just like maybe it was someone who like fell into like this hill that wasn't a hill and it was just a drill ant colony and died like agonizingly and they just decided to haunt the fucking place.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we wrote this, Cheery. Don't you take any credit. Don't you take any
No,
credit?
I'm not taking any
Don't you
credit. This is all you. This is all you.
don't you shirk credit. That's what I'm saying. Don't be shirking
No,
your
no, no,
credit.
no, no. This is
Yeah,
nothing. This is all
you're a
you.
mother of horrors. You're a mother of horrors.
This is all you. This is all you.
When you combine all of the elements in this biome we made, we create something disgusting like this. There's a cave with thousands and thousands of dead ants in it who are all dehydrated to death, and that cave is the dead fucking remains of a giant land whale. And it's all haunted by a spectre which just wanted to live. Live and feast upon water. Water, give us your moisture. And the only way it's represented is by the sheets. Sheet or tapestry, I think, just sort of like clings to these kind of things. Otherwise, naturally, they would just be in fucking visible.
Um, droid skin from the whale.
Is dried skin if they feast.
No, if they feast, it starts getting moist.
Yeah. So this is one of those situations where the players have to use like their magical skills or maybe like pure luck to like end up smashing the skull. which is like a way of basically saying to the spirit, "You are dead in this world. Nothing of you is left. Leave. Move on." Which I imagine drill ants probably didn't eat because they can get around that shit.
I'm going to avoid using salamander as a thing in the lava fields, because that's just done to death. And
Yeah.
and why salamander when lava tortoise? Hmm.
If we like it or not, this is a world of horrors.
Oh yeah. In true artist style, it's time to completely reuse something we've already done.
Is it a squid?
No,
Is it a spider?
no,
Is it an ant?
no. It's a little wisp dude.
Oh, wisp dude. Okay, so here's how a very basic campaign could start. Traveling through an area, stranded, you need these people to help get you through. So the only way through is to basically help join their hunt. But as you join them, they're all picked apart by one of the beasts of the area, which you have to fight off. And then you have to sort of like survive this alien terrain on your own, only to discover something else. Yeah. Okay. So we said that like Atlantis would be a collapsed civilization, sort of.
Yeah.
We're not calling it Atlantis, that's for stuff.
No, we're not.
Um,
That's just a placeholder name for the underwater city.
yeah.
Just sounds like
I'm not
someone's
thinking.
drowning.
I'm not thinking stupid shit like, oh yeah, they had guns and fucking flying hoverboards. Like, weirdly, like Aquaman and I think that's a thing in Marvel too. I, I genuinely think in uh the second Black Panther movie, like one of the villains is underwater people, like the fishmen. I could be wrong. I don't think I am.
I know there's that technically
yeah,
in folklore there's the Fomorians from Celtic myth. They were essentially those that came before the Tuatha De Danann. And they're basically a bunch of fish people because they got pushed into the sea and became fish.
yeah. How much of this can we base around Celtic mythos?
As much or as little as we want. It help.
Because
It could well be that everything. We just like take a bunch of mythologies and each area has its own basis.
I want you to hear me out when I say this, because this is going to sound like one of the most whack things you'll ever hear in your life at first.
Okay.
I like Celtic mythos. It's weird. We have the cat god too. I like Egyptian mythos. It's weird. I don't think anyone's done this combination before, have they, Cherry?
No, there have been a few stories that I've listened to and read that basically I think the trope is everything including the kitchen sink.
See, it's not everything including the kitchen sink, but I think it is these two elements. Like, maybe it's as simple as, like, you have your insider gods, which is the Celtic sort of stuff. This is the way the world is and was and always will be, and this is the order. And then you have, like, the outsider gods. Sort of come into things. Mingle. You know?
Hmm.
Because the way that I understand. Oh my fucking god, my hands are covered in fucking chair stuff. Hang on, I need to go wash my hands.
He's becoming chair.
I am more chair than human right now. I swear to you. Please stay with me.
In the meantime, sneak peek of the of Mark II.
How much do you know about Celtic mythos?
I know a man became a salmon once, but it's okay. He got better.
I don't know a hell of a lot.
I do have the Mabinogion somewhere around on my desk. Or Mabinogion, I don't know how you pronounce it.
See, because like coming up with our own unique gods is kind of. I won't say it's hard. You find a concept, you make a god for it. Simple. But like as driving forces go,
Well, the thing is,
I think they have some like really fun stuff to like borrow from.
there would be fun stuff we can look at and sort of take inspiration from, but it's also fun to think along the lines of, when it came to prehistoric, because don't forget, things like the Celtic mythos, we were like well into the Iron Age at this point. We knew all this stuff, so there was a god of the forge. Obviously, I think Lu, Lugh, which Lugus
Who would be
Nacht.
the gods of craftsmen.
Yeah, who the god of the craftsman, the god of the forge. It's like it makes sense that there's a god of the forge because we understand, how to work metal. But in this world, they haven't got to that point yet. So there would be no god of the forge, but there would be god of, say, the carpenter, or god of the woodsman.
Yeah.
But likewise, you'd also probably have a god of the forest. And they probably wouldn't get along because god of the forest likes trees and god of the woodsman also likes trees, but usually to cut them down and turn them into cute things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also got to imagine as well that a lot of since we know that the gods are real and there's just a set of the gods, do they appear the same to all races? Do they imbue the same things to each race? Like, say, the god of the woodsman wouldn't really make sense to the crocmen in the swamps because there's not really woods. There's some trees here and there that they build on, but there's no like woodland. So would it be like the god of the reeds and things like
God of
that?
the
So like it's more like god of the major resource in your location. So
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
god of the clays, god of the reeds, god of the sands, god of the salt, and that would be one of the gods is all of them, but different races. It's like I don't know if you've known the like the real world thing that all gods are the same god, they're just different facets of the same god.
Yeah, that's a thing in a lot of religions
Yeah,
as well.
there's a lot of religions in that have got that thing, but it's also like an overarching thing of what if they are all just the same god, and it's like depending on which bit you look at, you get a different thing. But that sort of thing. But say there would be the one god of resources, for example. The Crockman would look at it and go, "Oh, that looks like a Crockman to us," and they're the ones that gifted us the clays which we make our houses with. Whereas on the other side of the world, in the tundra, the giants see it as like a giant, thick giantess woman who gifted them the ability to, harvest the snow and the ice to make houses. But they are still the same god, even though to two different races they look very different and have different names. Because otherwise we'd have to sort of think of gods for every single race.
I think we
Whereas we
can
could,
definitely
well, at the time, if we do it the way I'm thinking, we could have like these are like the 10 gods, but then there's aspects that are more similar to one race than the others, and so well, I don't know.
I've been thinking about
Them
these concepts a
thighs.
lot. So, borrowing from one of my favorite series, right? From
Yeah.
Software does a great job at world building.
Mm.
You have worlds that are so fucking unique. You have a world that's literally just trees and grey crags and clouds and fog and the dragons. That's the beginning of the world. And then the other lesser races discover fire and use it to kill them. But fire isn't just fire, it's this mystic force that they all draw power from. But it's constantly fading, so they need to burn stuff to it, so they've constantly got to sacrifice for it. That's such an interesting world. I'm not even sure we have a planet yet. I'm not sure what our world is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have a map.
Like, we've already got, like, such whack concepts as well, like the North and South are time. What if that time is just bleeding into the world? How do we portray that? How do we make
Mm.
that fun?
See, honestly,
I don't think we have it.
there was a part of me as well that was wondering, like, what if we did a Hollow Earth type thing, and there is an inside. I know at one point we'd kind of like this, we'd like toyed with the idea of having a world that was like a donut with the moon going through the center.
Donut Earth, yeah.
But what if, the reason why time is leaking is because there is another entire world on the inside and time is leaking from inside out?
Maybe.
Kind of like how with our world, it's the magma that's moving, that's making things move around. What if that was time? And it was currents of time that were making things happen and shifting the continents.
Yeah. It's just difficult to really think about, like, world building.
Mm. I think
You know what I
with our
mean?
one, because we went with the idea of it was more realistic based and more grounded. we didn't have a weird magical. This is how the earth this is how the world began. The dragons shat out the fires of death, blah blah, and a bunch of random stuff, and then the world was made, and then the creatures started turning. We didn't have anything like that. It was literally there's a planet with some vague microbe things on, and then the cat god turned up,
Yeah.
and everything started going a little bit crazy on the planet below.
Don't fuck everything up. No, I think I would like see more like creation concepts. Like see like because it's really all well and good and easy having like you've got your dome planet, but like what if we just made it fun? It's also really easy saying you have the Earth plane, you're on the Earth plane right now. Isn't it a bit predictable? Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
like what can we make that is just like what can we make that's gonna blow people away and be like, whoa, I've never seen that anywhere before, while also being like a fun and really interesting concept to explore in universe.
And that's where the hard bit comes, because a lot of concepts have already been done. I mean, even thinking of what I was saying earlier about like the magical cataclysms that just kind of happen across the planet, in the same way that
See,
we would have like volcanic eruptions, there's mana eruptions that cause weird stuff happening. There's other things that have done that kind of thing that these areas have had weird magic stuff happen, and now the rules aren't quite the same.
it's got me thinking like, what if it doesn't have to be unique at the end of the day. It's just to be fun and interesting. Definitely something to think about. I think that's what I'm going to attempt to do next. Not so much arty art, but like think the big thing, you know?
And I think bit's the hard bit.
I just need some flashbang inspiration, you know? I don't want to say the world's a tree.
Yeah, too many things have done the world is a tree.
No, I was just thinking as a concept. What do we have in universe? It's wild. Oh, maybe it's a tree. No, can't be a tree. Stupid. The world's a giant tree. We'd all fall off.
Well, let's start with the fact that we know there was an ancient civilization that was underwater. So what if when the
Something.
planet started, it was all underwater, and that's why the first race that appeared was an underwater race? It's because there was no other option. And then because the gods started fighting, that's when they started raising the ground out in their battles.
I think another idea behind this underwater race is they're not sci-fi adept, but they are fantasy adept, right? Like they're
Hmm.
like the ultra elves. Like maybe at some point in time they had like a big civilization that sort of like spanned the globe. Like maybe they could like build cities that like floated above water and stuff,
Hmm.
just to like flex that they could. And then they started collapsing. What was that collapse? Is it the
Hmm.
abyss? Just an inherent force of corruption? Maybe they end up creating the gods of the elements. Maybe they harvest an elemental power and through their fuckery accidentally create the four like elemental. It's eight now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The eight elemental gods.
Or at least the 8 elements.
Eight.
Or maybe it was the fact that they started out as being 4 elements, and they were fucking around and accidentally created the other 4 as tangible
Maybe that sort of
beings.
threw everything out of
Yeah,
balance.
and that sort of like made things go a little bit weird, because now It's not just, you know, the four originals in harmony. Now there are other antagonistic forces that are trying to like scoot in on their territory, as it were. I was like, oh yeah, I can do fire. Oh, I can do water. Yeah, fire and water. Yeah, that's a thing. Or fire and wind, or whatever. Yeah, whatever the lightning one turned out to be, and things like that. It's like the
Like,
ice
here's the
comes
thing. In the
along.
beginning, you've got your fire, your water, your air, and your earth. These natural elements. They work in like tandem with each other, right? But then you have fucking lightning, lava. You have growth
Mm,
and ice. These are like these things push to the extreme.
mm.
You know what I mean? Like growth
Honestly,
only wishes to create, grow, and like nurture and like coat the world. Ice wants everything to be
mm,
stasis, still, frozen, solid, sculpture, perfect as it is. Lightning is just power. Lightning craves power.
I see it kind of fits the whole thing of the world like starting out being nothing. The first creatures that gain sentience, or just maybe even like the first creatures that, you know, get anything. Maybe it was like either sheer luck that they just ended up and it was an alien race that just crashed on the planet, and the planet was just started out as pure water. And then they started messing around and then accidentally created the things that started the world to progress, which was lightning and things like that that would start making the atmosphere livable and things like that. Which also then accidentally created the gods in the process of them tinkering and messing around with things.
Yeah.
And the gods end up starting to fight each other because, you know, they're brand new creatures. They have no idea what the fuck's going on. They start fighting between each other until there is a balance. During the Great War of the Gods, that's when the land is raised from the oceans. That's when the cataclysm occurs that causes the original race to start declining. Because, you know, it's always a classic trope that, you know, they get destroyed. They get mostly destroyed by something they created, whether by
Entire
accident or not.
civilization just got ripped out of the ocean.
Yeah, it's basically like half the world got raised from the ocean. So anything that was there, they've just if anything any of them that just died.
I don't know. This is something I gotta think about off stream a bit. You know,
Mm.
we want a unique premise.
I mean, there's a lot of options to go with.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what we come
Mm.
up with.
And it's just, you know, seeing what sticks really.
I mean, when I point at a
Mm.
little bit that a tree left behind,
Mm.
what sticks?
Ha 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 ha. That's the second person that's turned up and gone talk hole. I napping.
Ohio. Yeah. I
I
think
think
we've
that
done okay as like a
because
start, you know?
a lot of things that like the world building for things like Dark Souls, you got to remember that as nice as it is, it's very limited. It's very like
Yeah.
condensed. It's like this chunk of the world. This is all. It all happens in this chunk. The rest of the world we have no clue about. You know, it could well be that on the other side of the planet there's loads more dragons, and that it was a lie that, you know, all the dragons were killed, which we already know is a lie anyway, because, you know, Seath and the other ones are already still there. But
All of
yeah,
the other ones.
all of the other ones that are still around, you know, yeah, all the dragons are dead apart from this one, this one, this one, and this one.
Apart from all of them.
Yeah, and like things like with Bloodborne, the world building for the area we see is amazing, but there is very little outside of that. I mean, the only thing that we know about Bloodborne, outside of the fact that, you know, it's Yharnam, weird stuff happened, there are elder gods. All we know apart from that is that there was a constable from the east who turned up at some point. everything else happened in this one condensed area. We aren't focusing that way. We're doing an entire world. I mean, if I was sensible, I would crack open the several books I have on the topic and figure it out. But, you know, I have like one book that's more on like sci-fi generation of planet, going like gravity, size of planet, atmosphere, and all that sort of stuff. And I've also got one that's more of a fantasy of like timelines and tech that people would have and things like that.
Often there are 2 dragons in the original Dark Souls. The rest of the ones in that game are undead or drakes. And then there are dragons in Dark Souls 2, but apparently they're not real dragons, except the fact they are.
Which dragons are you thinking in the first one? Obviously the Seath, because, yeah, Seath.
There's another one that's the Timeless Dragon.
Is that the one in the bottom of the lake, in Ash Lake?
Yeah.
And then don't forget you also have the half-dragon of Priscilla.
She's only a half dragon.
Yeah, she's half-breed. She's like
And
Seath's
then,
daughter.
Dark Souls 3, you have Dark Eater Medea, who is a dragon. So, like, and then the dragons were no more is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Oh, no.
Wait. What about... What's the, What's Calamite in Dark Souls 1? Is he a drake or is he a dragon? He's in the he's in the DLC.
No, he's just a drake.
Because I've got a feeling he's called Black Dragon Calamite.
Oh my fucking god! I know the dragons no more. Yeah, I'll probably be wrapping up here because I really want to use some brain. You know what I mean?
Well, would you look at that? He's called Black Dragon Calamite.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
And he has 2 wings and 4 legs, so he is a dragon.
Before we come back to this world, though, yeah, I definitely want to like get into like how can we build this world? Like, would it be fun if it was constantly nighttime? Probably not.
That is going to be interesting because, I mean, it might not be as far as going like full nighttime, but it could be that, you know, because the reason we have like night and day as we have now is because of like the angle of the tilt of the planet when it's rotating. Could just be that ours has got a stronger tilt, so seasons last longer and night and day last longer. Because things like, you know, in the Arctic and Antarctic, days can last for months, or at least daylight can last for months, and then nighttime will last for months. So it could be that certain areas have a similar thing depending on where they are. Like the further north and south you are, the more these things affect you.
The star is different. Like maybe they have a blue star. Like how does that change a world? Or maybe that
Well,
star hasn't quite cooked off yet. Or maybe the
well,
planet's just drifting.
I can at least say one thing that would change if the star was blue instead of yellow. All the plants would be different colours. They would not be green. Because the reason why plants are green is because it captures the most wavelength without catching so much that it overheats the leaves.
Cosita, thank you for the raid. Welcome on in.
So let's see.
Lemon love falling down. Were you playing Fall Guy? No. Littleton Go. You have chat for followers? Do I? Yeah, don't mind that. Follower only chat is what did I put that on?
Is that was that a Severy thing that happened earlier when it first turned up and it's just like turning it all off?
Maybe. I don't know, I'll figure it out later. Oh, come on in. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a lovely time streaming. We're brainstorming a fantasy world right now. I understand. That sounds dreadfully boring. But yeah, I hope you had a lovely stream. Make sure you go and like stretch and take care of yourselves. Grab any drink or snackies you need, or maybe if you need a rest. Make sure to take care of that. I do not mind raid or dip, like at all. You don't have to feel compelled to be here or nothing. Yeah, we're currently like thinking about ways to make like a very interesting start to a fantasy world. And we were just about to wrap up for the evening, or at least I was. It's almost
Oh
midnight
yeah,
here,
yeah, it's 5 to midnight.
and we were just sort of like considering like what could the unique sort of way this world starts be, because I feel like it's almost a bit too boring for fantasy to just have. And then there was another globe, you know, or like, and then there was another plane. It doesn't really like end. I kind of want something to be both limited, but also like very expensive. Can't you mean?
Yeah, because the problem is there's a huge spectrum of how you can have the world. You can just have like, oh, it's a globe, done. But then you
It's
can
just a
have
crusty
the,
planet.
but then you can have the, well, the world is a disc being carried by 4 elephants on the back of a giant space turtle.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You can get
yep,
the fifth elephant though.
yeah, but
The
is it
elephant of
real?
surprise always sneaks up on you. No, but you're gonna have some food. You're looking to be okie dokie. Thank you so much for the raid again, and I hope you enjoy your food and have a nice little relax. Um, yeah, we're sort of like been thinking about that so far. The idea behind the D&D world itself is it's going to be like
TTRPG world. You use the
I said
dread.
D&D.
You said D&D.
No, the idea behind the TTRPG world in general is like going to be this sort of world which is just in prehistory, which you can just watch evolve over the years. Big stretch. Yeah, that's sort of like what we had planned for it. But we want it to be like a cool sort of way of doing things.
But it could be
We
like
got a bunch
something.
of cool elements.
It could be something like really weird. Like the reason why there is the primordial element is that there was originally some giant primordial beast that died, and that is what the world is.
Be freak shit. I like
So
that.
rather than it being an actual globe, it was just like a giant space whale that died and just
Gross.
was just floating around in space, and then it just started to decay and things started growing on it.
Yeah.
There's so many weird things we can go with.
There's so many like weird places you can take a fancy sort of setting. We kind of haven't got around to that yet. We gotta. We just haven't.
We're trying to avoid the idea of planes.
Yeah, we don't want to make any plain sort of like stuff. It's too easy because then you can just have then there's the demon plane. That's where the demons live. Thank you.
Yes, and then there's the plane of cheese and the plane of this thing and
Oh shit, we want to add a new expansion to our campaign. What do we do? Oh, we'll just add a new plane. Or like, oh, we'll just add a new island.
yeah. Which is fair with us. I mean, we could. I mean, from the look of the map, there's like at least a chunk of the world that might not have been mapped on the other side. So
Yeah.
there could be like little islands that turn up, or there's islands we haven't even thought of. Like expansions could be well the poles. You know, this is it's got to a point now where you've developed ships. Well done. You've accidentally found somewhere very, very cold and very weird with time.
It now gets worse.
Yeah, now it gets worse, because now you're not just messing with the primordial elements and the monsters. You're messing with messing with the temporal flux monsters. Um, and they think you look delicious. They enjoy eating time, and you've got years of your life left to go. You would be a beautiful snack for these beasts. Yeah, we have room for things like that just like stay on the planet, or even if it's like, okay, we know magic's a thing.
Having so many sickening thoughts all of a sudden. What if what if this planet's like a gas giant and it's just an ocean and these islands are just floating on top of it?
Could work.
But
Um,
like
how
the
does that
center of the
work?
gas giant is hollow.
Okay. How would that work with the underwater race?
But they still live underwater.
So what you're thinking is it's like a weird gas giant that somehow has had a crust develop around it, which things like
Yeah.
water can sit on.
I'm thinking like it's basically like a not a gas giant. It's a water based planet, right?
Hmm.
But like the way it works is that land used to like float on top of the water and stuff. Or like rather it used to float below the water until some of it was like found out that like, oh, some of this is rising and some of this is sinking. I don't know.
I mean, that could have
We'll
been
get
what
to it.
I was gonna say. That could be what caused the cataclysm of that
The fish.
the fish people. It could be that the reason why some of the things started to rise and some started to sink is because they were starting to mess around with things they shouldn't have.
Do not fuck with the ground. But yeah, um, that's as much brain as I can really summon for the evening.
Yeah.
Like inspiration comes in time, you really can't force it. Subject yourself to good
Mm.
like themes and books and like arts and like inspiration will come naturally to you.
I mean, I've at least got a couple of scribbles out of it.
You got some ideas. You got creatures and biomes and weird. Yeah. I have
And I've got Torkoal that everyone keeps calling it. Lava tortoise.
you go to your Shelby. Hello everyone.
It's a
Yeah,
bit
I'm
warm.
probably gonna wrap up here, put some more thought to it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
It's never easy making a fantasy world. Well, thank you all for stopping by. I'll be on again tomorrow. Don't know about you, Shmiri.
It's Thursday tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, I'm on tomorrow. Don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be on tomorrow.
Does this new place you've made have oil? No comment. No comment.
We are not having Americans. We're not having Americans
America
invade
is
our
not
planet.
canon. Americans are not canon. But yeah, thank you all for stopping by. I hope you had a good time. Me and Cherry are gonna go make out in the closet.
Oh, in the closet. Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought it'd be out on the bed, but
Want to do it in the closet.
okay, okay. I get it. You don't want to see my face. You want it to be dark. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
No, I don't want you to see mine. I'm gonna rip my face off halfway through. It's gonna be no spark to face.
It'd be Nick
He ain't
Cage.
even that bad looking.
It's just be Nick Cage standing there in the closet. It's like, I took the face off.
Oh god, Ace is here hearing oil now. We're out, run.
Yeah, run
Oh,
away,
run to
run
the
away.
hills.
The Americans heard oil.
Thank you all for stopping by. I love you all. Good night.